Igwe, what's the update on our patient?
Commander Dahl is making a speedy recovery, and we are making our way to the shuttle bay. I've informed him of the threat to the station, and...
Fine, Morgan, I'll meet you in the shuttle bay.
Well, she's not suicidal. She thinks they're right about blowing the place up. She's also not necessarily going to just outright ignore a chance to leave if they get one. Oh, you're inside of one of those escape pods? Is that where you are? I know, just the thing. Oh, look at you. Look at you in there. There we go. That's called, justice. Oh, hey. Look at that. We had another one in here, too. He was gonna kill himself. Huh. Didn't see that coming, though. Me just throwing one of them at him. Alright, so that's taken care of. R.I.P. Danielle Show, because you're probably dead. But hey, I got the guy. Huh. I never opened that. Polly Shield CRU. Sadie Hall. Gordon and Britt. I think I found them before. I must have just missed the suitcase. Grants increased protection against physical damage. Ooh. That's a pretty good one. I think I removed the slight jump boost I have in order to get that. I think. That seems like the right call. Alright, now to go to the core. Because I think that's all of the objectives. Yeah. That guy's still a prisoner forever. I mean, leaving a prisoner forever when they're that dangerous is probably the right call. Figure out what to do with him after this entire thing's blown over. Lovers, don't particularly care about the Lover's Initial Tree, honestly. But yeah, I think that, I mean, they gave me two decisions, to let him out or to extract him, and I chose the third decision, which was just to leave him in that cell forever. And we can figure out how to deal with the remaining prisoners after this entire thing is actually, after the crisis is averted. The safest place to keep him is probably in that cell, where I don't think anything can really happen to him unless another person decides to extract him, basically, and comes by. Or this calamity happening right now takes him out, but the fact that it still hasn't said I've failed that objective might mean that he's still alive. I might have saved his life by keeping him in that place full of barriers, even though he wanted out. I'm sure as hell not going to trust a guy that has some really fucked up shit written about him.
Gravity detected.
Wee-hoo! Let's go into it upside down. Ah, jeez. My brain. Trying to make sharp turns in space. Ace. Ace. Here we go. I was about to get attacked, I'm pretty sure. Thank goodness for the fact that loading into a new zone makes it count like you're in a different pocket dimension. You're completely immune to all previous threats. Now we're trying to get to the heart of the coral. With pretty much all loose ends are tied up except for some miscellaneous stuff I never got around to, like the D&D game scavenger hunt thing. Sorry. Everything went to shit really abruptly. And, I actually kind of like leaving loose ends sometimes when it comes to that stuff. When something really, really dramatic happens that completely changes the scope of the entire scenario and story and setting of the game, having that, like, cut off various storylines that are in progress is actually kind of neat, because it really sells the gravity of the situation and how much more important it is than the other stuff that was otherwise a diversion you could have spent time on before it went wrong. Close. There we go. They'll never get me now. That's how doors work. I'm pretty sure they'll never catch me. Even though they can definitely catch me. Don't worry, I'm still on your team. Never got any of those alien mods. That one turret's been there like the entire game. It's like the only one that's apparently in a spot that doesn't get killed off camera whenever I leave. But it also probably hasn't killed anything, because it's just an empty, boring place where nothing happens. Oh, poor guy. Oh. This is a problem, I'm gonna say. Problem. Ow? A little bit?
Morgan, I don't know if you've seen it, but there is alien matter ripping through the hull. You have to move. Bullshit me. Every window in this station. It's engulfing the place. It's everywhere.
There we go. You go up, right? Yeah. We have to go up. Go, go, go. Hurry. Uh-oh. Haha. You can't make me miss at that range. Hey, it's this room. I remember you. Ah, that doesn't feel great. We're back here now, a place that they teased early in the playthrough. Ah. Ow. Military operators are back? That's not great news. Just need to find a way into the heart of the coral somehow. Oh, my turrets are still here. Aw. Friends. You. There we go. Wow, it just lets you right in, huh? Let's check in on our old friend. Let's see how he's feeling. Hey, how you doing? No update?
I know my life ain't worth 2 dead crickets, but nobody deserves this.
You want to come out? Is that what you want? You want to come out into all this? Do you see what's happening around here? You want me to open that window and show you? Oh wait, that would make you die immediately because you get mind controlled. Probably. No acknowledgement? Oh. I was hoping that the game had accounted for this incredibly specific scenario of what's happening right now, of him still being in that cell now, because I think that'd be really funny. That'd be a really funny script moment of him having to react to what the fuck's going on. It's like, you know what? Can't leave me in here.
Microgravity detected.
And I'll maybe just like make another quick save. Boom. Heart of the coral. What could go wrong?
You better do something. The reconstruction is destabilizing.
They're lying to you.
Hurry.
That should do it. Come to the bridge. We can finish this thing once and for all.
Assume Alex's plan succeeds. Then what? You're taking a massive gamble that there aren't more predators like the Typhon. In the history of the universe, humans have only recently become self-aware. Yet you're going to kick the door open on a much wider and older cosmic ecology. One that feeds on consciousness. These are shark-infested waters. Alex believes we can be the bigger shark, but what if we're just poor swimmers, and now there's blood in the water?
I kinda get it, January, but like your entire argument is like almost entirely hypothetical, essentially. Her argument basically amounts to being like a thought experiment. Whereas I have real lives to not end right now. Go, go, go! says weird spooky voice. I think I might do both endings. I have a few manual saves. I think I'm gonna blow the place up afterwards just to see how things vary. We'll see. We're still getting a hint at some sort of world, and I think. What am I seeing during those flashes? It seems like I'm seeing Alex standing there in a jumpsuit or something, like he always is. But would that be the real Alex, while this is the fake one? Or is this the looping simulation, and am I still in the looping simulation right now? And it just loops forever? And I just relive this entire game over and over again? Now I'm going towards the bridge. I need to go to Talos I bridge, which I guess I get that that's where I just was, huh? I'm doing this in the least. I have to go back to the Arboretum. I'm doing this in the least efficient way possible. I just went to the Arboretum to go to the bridge to go kill that guy at the escape pods. And now I'm going back to the Arboretum to go to the bridge after having gone all the way back down again. So I can, but now to go to the actual bridge. Go figure. That's what I get when I try to do all the side quest stuff early, so I don't accidentally... Because I'm trying to avoid points of no return before I do those kinds of side quests. But it's leading to extra steps. Whoops. Go, go, go. And I can still go back and blow it up in my other save just to see what happens. But yeah, inherently, I'm in favor of the thing where we try not to kill everybody. If we can end the hazard, and if we can kill the hazard and then not all die in the process, that's a plus. Those things just disintegrate in the moment. I touched that window is why I died last time. Upside down. Ah, jeez. Getting used to this loading screen yet? It is fun being able to have like the reign of the place, because like I've unlocked every passageway and now I can go like wherever I want, except for the fact that half the place is like shut down now.
What the hell have you done?
I've simply acted on Morgan.
Your operators locked me out of the comm terminal. We need to link up to the null wave device if we're gonna get that signal off before it's too late.
Consider the risk. Alex's plan, if it works, is only a short-term solution. None of us has the right to endanger every life on Earth.
If anyone's playing God here, it's you. Your lunatic plan denies everyone a birthright to the stars.
You know how neuromods are made. The demand will only increase. In the future Alex envisions, many will die for the benefit of a privileged few.
I'm not arguing with a glorified desktop. Kill it, Morgan.
Sorry, Morgan. I won't relinquish control of the terminal. You'll have to destroy me. Which means you'll be destroying yourself.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
I'm sorry, Morgan. I didn't want to harm your brother. The directives you gave me require I do everything in my power to ensure you destroy Talos I and all the Typhon. Detonating the station safeguards the Earth, and perhaps provides a small measure of reparation. I won't relinquish control of the terminal. If you want to activate the null wave, you'll have to kill me.
I wonder if I should just kill both of them. Like, because he's a danger. He's actually actively a problem, and his plans are horribly, horribly flawed and need to be stopped. But yeah, here we go. Sorry. Why'd you have a Psi-Hypo in you?
What is a neuromod?
Well, it's both an easy answer and a complicated one at the same time. It is the future, today. More importantly, our past, today. This is the work TranStar does. Every employee working together. It's immortality, and it is beautiful.
That was abrupt. Huh, this song might be dangerous to put on YouTube. if you're not hearing lyrics right now, it's because I had to swap out the song. Maybe. I don't know, it sounds like a licensed song. So that was Prey. Very, very cool game. Very much a contender for favorite of the year, probably along with Zelda. Fantastic exploration-driven storytelling with very, very, like, gray area morality throughout the whole thing, and the ability to just kind of do whatever the hell you want along the way, constantly. Which is why I think I want to explore some of the other endings real quick in either this video or follow-up videos, because that's part of what... Oh! Something just materialized here that we know is a mimic. Concern. 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 Oh, everything's shaking. Oh, that guy's running. Is this when everything went bad? Is this when the... Oh, are we watching the... We're watching the outbreak of the mimics in real time? That's what's happening. Yep. I think that guy might have been mind controlled. Now there's mimics going everywhere. Oh. Here we are in the public area watching how everyone basically died. Except we can't look around at all, so we can't really see actively. Oh, there's a guy up there. This poor place. It got so destroyed. Now I just want to sit here and stare at it. So I've got multiple things I'm curious about. One, what happens if I do the same ending again, but I shoot Alex to death when he's down on the ground? What if that change happens? And then I still go the anti-January ending, but also then Alex is lost at that point. The concern being there, like, it might be a fake ending, like, it might be one of the false endings like that time when we tried to escape that one time. Whoa, there's the nightmare. That's a big one. Wait, did he stand up that tall? I never saw him in that perspective. He always seemed so low to the ground. What I'm curious about is that, we haven't seen anything that referred to that one ending where I got ripped out. Are we gonna... Maybe that'll be a post-credit sequence? We'll have to wait and see. Because so far the game's acting like it's all real. But that one time I left and they ripped me out seemed to imply that I wasn't real, so that's even more confusing. Huh. But yeah, the ideal ending for me is to stop Alex from what he's up to because he's doing unethical stuff. But I want to defeat the enemies, obviously, but I also want to save all the people on the ship from death if I can. What's gonna happen? Oh, the real credits. I see. We're in for a long haul then. Oh, another song with lyrics. Okay. So we had a lot of freedom in this game. You can make whatever build you want to, and I did the same thing I did in System Shock 2, which might have frustrated some people, which is that in System Shock 2 I didn't use any psi powers, and in this game I also didn't use any psi powers. This time there was a reason, though. Or an in-game reason. In System Shock 2 I didn't want to use the psi powers because I was brand new at the game, and I was adapting to like a lot of new, kind of confusing controls. It's such an old game that even when you play like the remake, or like the remaster-ish, not really remaster, but the port version of it that you can now play on modern machines, it's still like a weird nightmare of weird controls and weird design sensibilities that are outdated and you have to adapt to. And I was doing enough of that I just didn't want to put myself through dealing with the specifics of also learning how Psi works and stuff like that. And frankly, I made the playthrough work out ultimately, so I was fine. This time around, it was because there was an actual thing, like, you're going to become an alien if you do it. Not literally necessarily, but, like, you're corrupting yourself in a way that the scanners on the ship will even identify you as an alien. And like, what does that mean for the morality, what's happening in the story, and what that does to everybody around you, and what that does to the ship, and what has happened here, and what does that mean for your own consciousness and who you are as a person, and all these other things. Like, I was like, no, I think I'll just use guns. So I made a billion neuro mods so I could get to be the best gun-toting person ever, and I maxed out every single skill. By the end, the only skills I had not maxed out for those trees were the one for making Psi-Hypos more effective and the one for being better at using a wrench. I actually had every other skill in the entire game at that point. Really, definitely feels liberating in that Zelda, in that Breath of the Wild sort of way, and also, you know, this 0451 sort of way that you're just supposed to have. Is just like, I could make my own level ups. So if I got certain resources throughout the game, I could specifically invest them towards making my character progress in different ways, and I had a direct hand in that, which was interesting because in System Shock 2, you were mostly being fed level ups. In fact, that was part of the point, is that there was like somebody that's kind of manipulating you, and they're basically using the level up currency as being the equivalent of like using like endorphins to like condition a soldier into doing what you want them to do, which is actually like a really good episode of Black Mirror. I recommend watching Black Mirror if you guys haven't yet, but there's every episode is a different concept, sci-fi concept, a dystopia thing, and one of them was about like these people were like, they wanted the perfect soldiers, so what they did is they set these soldiers up. There's a few tricks that I could get into about how it worked that would be spoilery, but the less spoilery part was that one of the things they did was that when they did a successful mission, they would basically get like a chemical high, and that was conditioning them to just follow orders and do what they're supposed to do. There's other stuff that is part of the episode story, so I won't spoil that stuff, but like that is sort of what's happening with the story of System Shock 2 on some level. Is like someone just keeps rewarding you and it makes you want to keep working with them, and but if you're actively thinking about it, you might start questioning it and be concerned about why this person seems to be doing like a carrot stick thing with you to manipulate you, and that's concerning. But in this game, I had total freedom. Like, I was getting them as a reward, but I was also making my own, but I was also getting them by finding them, and that's all a cool mix. What's gonna happen? Ooh, it's a loading screen. What's it mean? Now entering a hidden location. What does that mean?
It's finished. How did it do?
Activation of the mirror neurons is promising. Empathy quotient shows to be exceptionally high.
It probably thinks it was dreaming, and nothing mattered.
You're assuming it thinks like us.
Its life depends on it. Ours too. It all comes down to the choices it made.
It saved me from the cargo container. I would have suffocated otherwise, and later it recovered the Lightner connectomes. They were of no practical use, except that they were deeply meaningful to me. It's remarkable that it never installed a single Typhon-based neuromod. In my view, this demonstrates a strong identification with us, but its most surprising act was sparing Da. While perhaps for purely selfish reasons, this, at least in principle, enabled others to escape Talos I.
Michaela.
I would have died without my medication. That wasn't easy. That says a lot, I think, about its heart. Can I say that it has a heart? It also found my father's records. And then, I did not expect this, but it let me listen to them. Despite the self-incriminating content, it was willing to make itself vulnerable.
Would you let it live?
Yes.
Sarah, you're next.
The situation in the cargo bay was bad. None of us would have survived without its help, and it destroyed a large number of Typhon across the station. That has to be a good sign. Further, it thwarted Dar's attempt to use us as hostages. If it were one of my officers, I would give it a commendation.
Danielle, what do you say?
It found me. It didn't need to, but it did. I asked it to stop Volunteer 37. That was dangerous. No way to be sure, but I think it has a sense of retribution. A lot of humans controlled by the Typhon ended up dead. Not that it was easy to avoid, but I think it's worth the risk.
In the end, he chose to activate the null wave device. Why? To preserve the Typhon technology? We can't really know what its motives were for anything it did.
But we had to make a choice. You can hear us, can't you? Here. I want to show you something.
What do we look like? Oh no.
What you experienced was a reconstruction based on Morgan's memories. This is the world today. We spent years trying to put what you can do into us. We never tried putting what we can do into you. Until now. You're the bridge between our species. I need to know if you see us. I mean, really see us. Take my hand if you do.
Holy shit. Oh, I want to save and do both. Holy shit.
We're gonna shake things up, like old times.
Then it just cuts out. That is like one of the coolest endings. That's genuinely neat. Oh my god, so we got a minor tease at that. I think that was intentional, by the way. Like, the December quest is not much of a secret. It goes right in your face early on, and it's optional, but it's still right there in plain sight like many other quests. So I think they wanted to tease you with the idea that all of reality wasn't real early on in the playthrough and let that happen. Like, I don't think it actually was a spoiler or a story-ruining moment for me to go into the escape pod and experience the fake ending that happens, basically. Because that's what, that's the hint at what's actually going on, and that's actually a really cool setup, because it didn't actually tell us what was happening, it just gave us a hint. And even though we could figure out that maybe this was some kind of simulation, at the same time, it wasn't a simulation, basically. It's wow, there's two things going on here. First of all, in a very Assassin's Creed sort of way, we're playing the memories of a real person. So that means that while the thing was a simulation, we can technically interpret on some level at least some of the things that happened in the main game as being real things that actually happened, basically. Like, as far as I can, if we want to view it this way, we can view everything that happens in the entire game as being 100% real, and the real things that Morgan actually did, and then there's just a reveal at the end that Alex has finally successfully gotten a Typhon human hybrid to successfully behave like Morgan. Could be what the ending was, basically. So you don't have to actually think like, oh, it's all a simulation and none of this matters, although you can, which is a thing suggested by one of the doctors there, which is an interesting point. But but ultimately, yeah, you can interpret it all as being 100% real, and just what they just finally got the Typhon to successfully do the same things as Morgan, and you know, he's recreating his sister, which I assume Morgan's dead. I assume Morgan did everything that we saw on Talos I, but then died as a result. Or it could be that Morgan has become so modified with Typhon stuff that she turned into a Typhon human hybrid and is bridging between the two species, but because of the neuromod thing where you lose memories and stuff like that, she's no longer herself anymore. And so basically, it might be that they successfully turned Morgan into a Typhon and then turn around and try to turn the Typhon Morgan back into Morgan psychologically, so that then they have a Typhon human hybrid that might be able to broker a peace or change with the Typhon that have taken over all of Earth, while simultaneously, being Morgan ultimately. That's a really cool ending. I also they recap your behavior throughout the game, but not just like in a text crawl or a slideshow or a really mechanical, obvious way, but specifically through your relationships with 4 specific characters, which was the security chief. It's the security chief from earlier in the playthrough. It's Danielle Sho. It's Ilyushin, Michaela, and the doctor guy. Listen, it's not. There's a lot of names in this game, and one of the interesting things is that there was such a cloud of names throughout the playthrough that it actually wasn't clear for a large chunk of the playthrough which names were going to be important a lot of the time, and that's one of the surprises that happens. So not only did we successfully purge Talos of its problems, at least for the moment, but we also were able to revive a shuttle pilot so that we could set up an escape, hopefully, for the survivors of Talos I. It did acknowledge that a lot of the people that were controlled by Typhon did die, but ultimately I did save everyone I could, and they saw that. There's so many. One of the risks, not even risks, one of the freeing parts even maybe about an 0451 game, these immersive sims or whatever we call them, these BioShock type games, is that it's easy to feel like the game's not paying attention to what you're doing. They give you an objective and you can do whatever you want to solve it, and then the game just sort of is ignoring you in the meantime, and then you pick up where you left off once it's time to actually progress again. That's a thing that happens in these games, is it feels like the game's not really paying that much attention to the little details along the way, and it's just like, did you get to the objective? There you go. Alright, what happened in the middle? Doesn't matter. This game was like, no, we're gonna pay attention to every little minor detail about what you did along the way, all the way down to how many Typhon mind-controlled people died, for example, and details like that. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and the game, and then it lords in your face how much it was paying attention to everything you did, down to quests for individual people, or the morality of different decisions, how you modified your character, whether or not you took certain mods. I feel validated in the fact that I did a soldier run of the game, basically, as far as build goes, because the game actually turned back around and acknowledged, hey, he didn't install a single Typhon mod, isn't that crazy? It's not even just the other stuff about, before I was questioning how the game would what it would just mean for me as a person if I did those things, or what it would mean if the turret started shooting me and stuff like that. But then the additional layer of the game itself was actually going to ultimately acknowledge that behavior and judge me for it accordingly. That's all really, really cool storytelling just all across the board. I am happy with this game. I was already happy with this game and its storytelling and its gameplay and its really cool enemy designs, and the fact that the Mimic is a stroke of genius because it's a tiny, secret little monster that hides inside of items that is the perfect thing for a BioShock-style game where you're wandering around and slowly poking through all these physical goods to try to find resources you can use and stuff like that. Making those moving objects an enemy is super cool. The main downside is that the Mimics ultimately become significantly less threatening over time, and they get sidelined in favor of other enemies and stuff like that, so that kind of goes away over time. But the tension of oh, am I going to be okay, was palpable early on. Even though I didn't necessarily die from them very often, I was still afraid of them. Not genuinely terrified, but I was nervous around oh, is one going to come out at me? Oh, what's going to happen? And it was a little disappointing when that faded over time. I got too comfortable with them, and there was bigger threats, and it became apparent that the Mimics weren't usually that threatening, so sprinting through a room and just shooting all the Mimics that pop out was a perfectly valid thing to do most of the time with my very powerful shotgun. Which, by the way, yeah, the ability to craft neuromods and weapon kits, there's so much freedom there, too. Oh, what other thought processes did I have? Oh, just to comment on the fact that they were all operators. I assume they're all operators because, I assume they're still alive. I assume those 4 people are all alive, and that, I assume that they're all alive and that Alex and the survivors are all like scattered in secret places on Earth, or maybe even in space. Maybe they're even on Talos I or some other. Maybe not, probably not Talos, but they might be in space and just have a remote camera on Earth or something like that to show me that one view. But I assume they're safe but scattered, and that they're speaking through operators remotely. But it's also entirely possible because of how because of how January and December and October work and stuff like that. It's totally possible that all those people are dead, and instead their personalities were modified and copied into these things so that Alex could have a panel, because maybe he's completely alone on this entire experiment and no one else survived, and those other people have like simulations of themselves that he can use, so that he can try to have like a panel of different opinions and not just leave it to his judgment and only his judgment of what happens. Either way, that was a super cool way of handling player choice and also contextualizing the story in some really interesting ways, and I very much like this game a lot. Thanks for watching like always, guys. This is the finale of Prey, but there may be an epilogue coming tomorrow where I check out some other endings / loose ends I feel like covering before we then transition to some of the other games coming out this week, which there was a poll I put up about which games come out, and it's actually convenient that I feel the need to do an epilogue, because I think I need one more day for some of those games to be available for me to record. Thanks for watching like always, guys, and I'll see you next time.